Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm Aishwarya Sophia. I'm an Akashic channel and an energy healer, and I'm here to make your spiritual journey a little easier. Let's talk about the Age of Aquarius. If you're plugged into the spiritual community in any way, I am so sure that you have been hearing about the Age of Aquarius for a while now. So if you're wondering what this is and what it means for you, you're in luck, because in today's video, we're going to talk about what this age is, what it means for us, and how each of us can step into this new collective energy with ease and grace. So what is this mystical Age of Aquarius? I'm going to get into some very high-level astrology for a minute. I'm going to keep it simple, so stay with me. Outer planets, which are Pluto, Neptune, and Uranus, take a very long time to move through the 12 zodiac signs. So for example, our sun moves through all 12 signs in 1 year. Pluto takes about 248 to 250 years to do the same. Pluto stays in a sign for roughly 18 to 30 years. So that's the reason why these planets are called generational planets, because they affect generational and collective energies a whole lot. So Pluto, which is the planet of death, destruction, and sudden change, was in Capricorn from 2008 to 2024. Now on November 19th, 2024, it's going to move into Aquarius permanently and stay there till 2044. The next 20 years of our lives are dictated by this collective energy. Not only that, there's also a larger cycle at play here. So I'm going to talk about something called the precession of equinoxes. So basically what this means is, because of the slight tilt in Earth's axis, it takes about 26,000 years for the sun to move through all 12 zodiac signs, and this is part of a larger cycle called a yuga in Vedic traditions, right? So what happens when a 26,000 year cycle is closed is that a yuga changes. So that is also happening in this time. So we're moving from the Kali Yuga back to Sat Yuga, which is the golden age. Another thing that's happening is we're closing out a smaller 2,200 year cycle. So we were in the age of Pisces, which is the sign in which the sun was during the precession of equinoxes, which is why we were in the age of Pisces. So I want to read a little excerpt from this beautiful article I was reading about the precession of equinoxes. So they explain it very simply, so I thought I would just read it out to anyone who was interested. The precession of the equinoxes is a gradual shift in the orientation of the Earth's rotational axis, causing the position of the equinoxes to move backwards through the zodiac sign for 26,000 years approximately. This means that the point where the sun crosses the celestial equator at the vernal equinox shifts westward through the zodiac, so it goes backwards. As a result, the astrological ages, such as Age of Pisces, Age of Aquarius, are defined by this movement. Each lasts roughly 2,200 years, and depending on the specific characteristics, it affects the collective energy. So that's why this is so important, because not only are we closing out a 16-year cycle from 2008, we're closing out a 26,000 year cycle and a 2,200 year cycle. So what happens when Pluto moves into Aquarius is that really commences or starts, or we get into the Age of Aquarius. But please keep in mind that these other energies that I mentioned are also at play. Why is this important for us on an individual level? Because much like the ocean, each of us, right, are like drops in the ocean. Every drop forms the ocean. Each one of us forms the collective. So if this energy is going to affect us on a collective level, it's also going to affect us on an individual level. So on an individual level, all we have to do is look at the themes of our lives in the Capricorn house that we've been going through since 2008, and really identify what those cycles are and put an end to them, and really step into the Aquarius area of your life with ease. Now, Capricorn really signifies authority. It more signifies me. It signifies the individual, whereas Aquarius signifies community. It signifies individuality, eccentricity, unique self-expression. So Aquarius and Capricorn are polar opposites in that way. So the shift in the collective energy is going to be very palpable when Pluto moves into Aquarius, and that's why this is so important for us on a collective level. So what does this mean for us as a society? Now, I want to disclaim this by saying that the information that I'm about to share is information that I have personally channeled from the Akashic Records. It also consists of references to other wonderful channels and mediums who have been channeling the same information. And to be honest, anyone who's a channel or medium will know this, that all of us receive information from the same source. So it's all the same information. So it's just confirmation of each other's psychic downloads. But I do want to state that this is information that I have channeled directly, and a lot of other psychic channels and intuitive people have shared very, very similar experiences. What's going to happen when we move to the Age of Aquarius is that the collective, because Pluto is going to be sitting in the sign of Aquarius, anything that is Aquarian or related to the Aquarian area of your life is what's going to be impacted by Pluto's energy. So for example, in my case, I'm an Aquarius rising, which means that every area of my life, of my self-concept, of my self-image, how I present myself, how I relate to others, everything is going through a massive overhaul, and I've been feeling it. So if you are interested in knowing how this can affect you on an individual level, look at what house Aquarius is in your birth chart. I use whole sign houses. So once you look at what house Aquarius falls in your chart, that's how you will know which area of your life is going to be impacted. But on a collective world stage, anything that relates to the Aquarian theme is what's going to be impacted. So the first major change that we can expect is deep and radical inner transformation. Now, anyone that knows an Aquarius person will know that Aquarians, or the Aquarius energy, does not like BS. It just does not like BS. It's not surface level. And if there's anything that needs to be looked at, Aquarius will do it. So expect a deep inner transformation and a complete overhaul of all of your beliefs, because Aquarians, or the Aquarius energy within each one of us, really relates to how we relate to others, how we relate to community, how we relate to the divine. So it's a very interpersonal sign. And I truly believe that this inner transformation that we're going to go through is going to be a very lasting one. Another thing that we can expect is great social change. Now, because these energies are a gradual shift and they don't switch over in a day, we have already been seeing so much social change. Now, one thing that can almost be guaranteed that's going to happen in the coming months is that people who have misused power, right? Be it celebrities, politicians, artists, musicians, it can be anyone. But anyone who has misused power, especially on a collective level or on a mass scale, their wrongdoings are going to come to light. So expect a lot of social change, especially as it relates to social hierarchy. A lot of social hierarchy is going to change. The way we relate to each other is going to change. But most importantly, the way that we view power, authority, and those in power is going to change. Another welcome change that's going to happen is that we're going to step into more unity consciousness and community mindedness. Because Aquarius is the 11th sign of the zodiac, right? So it really talks about that last step before we step into Pisces, which is that psychic liminal space within ourselves. So Aquarius really asks you to deeply examine your values, like I mentioned, but also deeply examine how you treat others, how you relate to others, how you relate to community. Are things fair for everyone in the community? And of course, as it stands now, no, it's not. There's a lot of gaps in pay, there's a lot of gaps in just income, standards of living, and all of that has to change. So there's going to be more of that socialistic community mindedness that's going to sprout up within each one of us. And I think that this really is a welcome change given how things have been in the recent past. There's also going to be rapid advancements in technology because Aquarius is an air sign, and air signs generally rule technology and they're very sharp and smart. So the collective is going to get into this space of how to relate with each other and how to use technology to make that more effective. So you can expect a lot of new platforms that are coming up that are going to help connect people, right? That are really going to help people relate to each other in a quicker and more efficient way. There's also going to be a lot of technological advancement as it relates to transportation. And I had this vision when I was channeling this piece of information about transportation, that air transport is going to become so fast that we can't even fathom it. And I've heard many other people say this as well. So definitely expect a lot of advancement in the field of medicine, technology, and transportation. There's also going to be a lot of rapid awakening happening because Aquarius is a deeply, deeply spiritual sign. It's very detached and neutral by nature. And this energy is going to have a significant impact on each of us in the sense that individually we're going to be able to be more objective. We're going to be able to really see things for what they are and use our discernment. And this is going to be accompanied by rapid awakening of the masses. So expect a lot of mass awakenings to happen. And this is really for the best because all of us are here to shift from the 3D consciousness to 5D consciousness. So this mass awakening that's going to happen is going to be triggered by certain collective incidents. And like I said, a lot of truth is going to come out because Aquarius is the sign of radical candor, right? It's the sign of truth. So a lot of truth about people in power is going to come out. The social structures and norms are going to change, and this is going to lead to rapid awakening of millions of people. There's also going to be a shift to a humanitarian focus. And I know that many of us already are aware of the fact that we are in somewhat of a humanitarian crisis on this planet with so many of our brothers and sisters suffering because of war. And I really think that this is all going to end. And I'm not saying that this is going to end in November on November 19th. I'm saying that as we step into the age of Aquarius, it's gradually going to end and it's going to completely die down. Because if we look at our recent past, there has been very rare and short occasions when the entire world has been fully peaceful, right? Some war or some battle is being fought in some part of the world. But that's what I'm saying is going to change. We're going to have complete peace and we're going to be focused on rebuilding and restoring and rehabilitating those who are affected by these unfortunate wars. And there's going to be a deep change in focus from profit to humanity. And finally, because Aquarius is such a deeply individual sign, we're all going to be stepping into stronger individuality, that sense of self and that sense of that unique self-expression. So we're going to step into radical candor about who we are. We're going to step into a deeper awareness of our own authenticity. And most importantly, this is going to be encouraged on a collective scale. So one example that comes to mind is today, many people because of cosmetic surgery look the same, right? And that's celebrated. That's the look. But what's going to happen more and more as we enter the age of Aquarius is our uniqueness. Like maybe some quirky features we have. Maybe we have a crooked nose and that's what makes us beautiful. That's going to be encouraged. We're going to embrace our uniqueness more, and we're going to celebrate our differences and embrace the things that we have in common. Given that a lot of these collective energies are so unfamiliar to us, how exactly do we step into this new energy with ease and confidence? The first way you can do this is by really knowing yourself. So when the whole world is in such a state of change and flux, it's very important for us to stay grounded within ourselves and our own being. So what's very important here is for us to really get to know who are we, right? So what I do for this is ask myself questions like, why am I here? What is my life's purpose? Why do I have these gifts? What do I love to do? What gives me joy? What are my core beliefs? Who am I at a soul level, right? Because if you know and understand these core things, and these core things are different for each of us, but once you find out these core values and who you are at your core, it becomes very difficult for outside influences to tell you who you are and who you're not. So the next way builds on what I just spoke about. It's really honing in on your individuality and expressing it more. So once you really take the time to get to know yourself as an individual, learn to express your authenticity without any filters. Because yes, it's very important to be kind and mindful of other people's feelings, but it's also very important to express our true feelings and our needs. Once we get into this state of really promoting our individuality, good boundaries, mental peace, that feeling of safety within our own being is a natural end result. So what happens when we see so much chaos and confusion around us, if we are confident within ourselves and we know how to express it, if someone comes and says, hey, this is my belief and I'm going to project it onto you, you're in such a good space to say, no, that's not my belief. I don't accept it. So this is why it's so important to get to know yourself and also to express it. The next way is to be open-minded. So a lot of things are going to change, and Aquarius is a very outlandish sign, which means that as we're going through these changes, that a lot of unfamiliar and seemingly outlandish things might come into the collective awareness. So when this happens, just keep an open mind, use your discernment, see what really resonates with you and what doesn't. But most importantly, like I said, Aquarius is that sign of someone who's so free-spirited and open-minded. So it's very important for us to stay open-minded and exercise complete acceptance of ourselves and of everyone around us. The next way is to really focus on service. Seva, or selfless service, is the act of serving someone with no intention except for to serve and help them. Now, I've spoken about this in a couple videos before, and I have experienced the magic and the joy that comes with serving others. So in whatever way you're able to do it, right? If your way of service is putting out a hummingbird feeder for all those cute, hungry hummingbirds, then that's your service. If your service is helping your elderly parents pay their bills every month, that's your service. It can be the smallest thing and it can be the largest thing, but find what your heart calls to and definitely engage in that kind of service. Because when you're helping others and serving others, it's very easy to forget about your own worries and your burdens and your troubles, because you're feeling like you're really being of use to others. You're being the conduit of the divine in helping others, right? That's how I look at it. I think that the divine uses me to help others, and that's why service is so important. The next way is to really take one day at a time. Now, I know that most of us are completely exhausted with everything that's happened since 2020. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. We're going to see a lot of collective changes, old systems collapsing, new amazing innovations, and it's going to be an amazing, amazing time. But through this time, it's very, very important to get into the flow state, right? Go with the flow. Don't resist any of these changes. Keep a generally good attitude towards things and be hopeful. Because what this does is when you expect the best comes to be. And apart from just this, what happens when you are in that flow state and you're in a state of complete surrender is you acknowledge the fact that these themes playing out on the collective stage are really a reflection of what we're going through within ourselves as well. So when we understand this, we understand that we can't control what's going on in the collective, but we can control our reaction to it. So it's very important to stay in a true state of surrender and flow so that you're in complete acceptance of what's going on, all the while being able to focus on yourself and work on yourself. And finally, the best way to deal with all the uncertainty that we're facing, all of these new tests, these new energies, is to really deeply understand that the universe always has your back. You're going to be safe no matter what. Understand that no matter what happens, your highest outcome is always waiting to play out, and the universe is your provider. Anything you ask for, as long as you're aligned with your manifestation, it must come to you. If you become a frequency match to that which you seek, it must be magnetized to you. That's universal law. So definitely keep a cool, open, easy mind through these changes. Stay in a surrendered flow state. Think of how you can serve others. And most importantly, think about how you can be your most authentic self. I really hope that this video was helpful. I wanted to share a little bit about the Age of Aquarius because I wanted to bring about awareness about what it is and what we can do to really help ourselves and the collective through this time of great change. If you're interested in working with me one-on-one, check out my website. If you want some fun readings, check out my Etsy and check out my Instagram. I leave everything in the description box below. If you happen to follow me on Instagram, send me a message, introduce yourself. I always feel so happy to hear from new people. And I really hope that you took something away from this. And I want to reiterate that there's nothing to be fearful of. Once we get through this little bit of friction that's going to happen in the coming months and years, we're going to enter the golden age. I have so enjoyed talking about this, and I'm so grateful for each and every one of you listening. And I will see you in my next video. Namaste.